said talk to me, damn it, or else I'm gonna throw you in the fire!
You stupid bitch! You filthy... Flyover state of fear. Welcome back to Flyover State of Fear. Got the main man Brian here, and me, Joe. How are you, Brian?
Oh, I'm pretty good, man. How about you?
I'm good. How's the stuff since Cape Fear recording?
Man, my life is just a roller coaster. No, not really. I'm comfortable in my rut. It's nice and smooth. Love my routine.
A nice routine. Just hang out. Works pretty slow, so it's nice.
Nice. Oh yeah, absolutely. Love when it works slow. We love it.
Yeah.
I had that at the beginning of the year. We switched over to like a new computer thing at work, and it kind of like messed with the scheduling, and it made my days a little slow for a while. And so I got to take some leave early or and stuff like that for a while, and then that's dried up now though. So
you know what? I rephrase
normal schedule.
I like when I'm like busy, not swamped, so the slowness isn't actually like fully preferred, but it doesn't. I've been sick this week too, so it helped.
I gotcha.
Anyway,
we're glad to have
wants
you back
to hear us.
Joe. No, thank God.
Oh, I was sounding like RFK yesterday. My family. But like we normally do on this show, when it's just us two, what are some horrors we've delved into? I've actually delved into. We were just talking before. I've delved into a few.
Yeah, I did watch. I started to watch.
What did you watch? What was your
through no fault of my own? I fell asleep. It's not an indictment of the quality of the movie. It's just one of those things where it's just it was a bad timing. I just was old and tired. It was called Viking Wolf. It's on Netflix. I'll probably try to revisit it. But it's hard with the constant deluge of content we get.
Well, definitely. I mean, I know you did this too. So Viking Wolf, never heard it. I probably will never see it.
Like I said, it was not a bad movie.
What year?
I was fighting against the current.
When's it from?
I can't remember. It's pretty recent. It's
was recent. I think. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we both did. I do know it feels long ago, but it's not that long. We both did several different Leprechaun movies.
Yeah.
Just for I did 2 and Back to the Hood. Just on
I watched
St. Patrick's
all
Day.
of them. I think we might have talked about this.
We did talk about this briefly.
Because I came to some hard realizations during that rewatch of that franchise. And I say rewatch, but really it was like a first time. But it was tough. But man, I love me some Warwick Davis. Yep, I have that same set.
I threw my money away because I ordered it then when we were talking about it, and I said that's a good idea. I should own all of them.
Yeah.
No, it was $16 poorly spent.
No, it's still worth owning them, really.
No, I like having them.
Deserves that much. He probably gets a 12-cent check every time somebody buys that DVD set, and he deserves it.
He's like, Joe, you have the likes of like Troll 2 and things of that nature on your shelf.
You're not too good to have the Leprechaun franchise on your shelf.
You have the Critters complete collection.
Puppet Masters. You got those
I don't have the Puppet Masters. I actually only have the Critters because a Flyover Halloween, and it's like the $5 like crammed in. But
yeah.
That didn't make it into the condensed version of the movies. So I'm not too good for it. But I did revisit a few. So I did see that new Late Night with the Devil. It's going to be probably when this is out if you're listening. It's on Shudder. Check it out. It's a great theater experience. Great movie. Just super unique. I mean, David I can't pronounce his last name.
Deschamelian, I think.
Deschamelian. He's so fucking good.
He
Everyone's
also popped up recently. I don't know if you talked about, but he's in Last Voyage of the Demeter, and that's a great
yeah,
new horror movie that's been out.
that one. Check that. I
It's
think
probably
that's
streaming now
on.
somewhere. You can rent
I
it,
think
I'm
that's on
sure.
like Max or Paramount or something. I just
It was
watched it.
good. Everybody should watch it. It's a blast.
Super fun. So I just highly recommend that. Ignore all the stupid online shit. Um, last 2 nights ago, because I bought when we just buy shit and it's on our shelves and we never get around to watch them.
I try not to shelve something till I've watched it. I'll leave it I'll
You're
put it
better
out
than
by the
me.
TV or something.
You're better than me. Because this will sit, collect. I take it out of the plastic though, because I don't like it sitting in the plastic.
I think everybody like has a collect. I don't know how you feel about this, but I feel like everybody like sees a collector when they're a kid. That kind of like it affects them if you're like a collector. And my friend his dad had an incredible VHS collection, but so many of them were still in the plastic, untouched. He'd
Oh,
unopened. It was wild.
there's probably a few floating around here in these stacks and like, but like I mean like all they got these all One Tree Hills for Christmas. I will take them out of the wrapper when
Yeah.
when I'm organizing. But yeah, on slot, no way. Anyway, yeah, that stuff sits with you if it just they're like, ooh, I don't like it this way. No, so I got around to I picked up a really nice steelbook of Christine.
Oh, okay.
I hadn't watched Christine. I used to run on cable all the time. I hadn't watched
Hmm.
it probably since I
I haven't
was
seen it in years.
I haven't seen it since middle school. Uh, Very much a middle schooler movie. In a
Yeah.
concept
It's
and
simplistic. You know what I mean?
it's
It's a very
just so.
straightforward
As I say about
idea.
rewatch Christine, it's so well made. It's so well made, and like John Carpenter pulls everything I think he can out of such a dumb idea.
Sure. Yeah.
Uh that I enjoyed it for its like the look, the synths,
Yeah.
some of the
The
stuff.
craft.
Yeah, other than that, it's it's all
Yeah, I
right.
consider it to be lower tier Carpenter.
Yeah, it's
I would
definitely
agree.
lower
I
tier.
mean,
It's not like Ghosts of
it's not
Mars.
Ghost of Mars, right? Where it's like when you say lower tier Carpenter, you have to like pull it back a little bit. Like you forget the man had some wild
Yeah,
swings.
this is like Gun for Hire,
Yeah,
Carpenter. Uh, it's it's. I know it has its fans. Like some
sure.
people fucking love this movie. I'm like in the middle. Like I think it's worth that revisit.
It's like on the scale of Carpenter and Stephen King adaptations, it's kind of in the middle of both of them.
Yes, yeah, and I mean, fucking Stephen King adaptations. They're so far in between.
We should do one of those.
Again, we just did one.
No, we
Want
should
to do
do more.
the
Do them
TV
all.
version of The Shining?
Oh hell no! If we're gonna do a TV movie, we're gonna do The Stand.
I've heard, or what's the one that it kind of went viral again? This red red rose.
Oh, I don't. Yeah, I don't know. I
No,
remember
or
when Red
some.
Rose the book came out, but I don't. Did they do a TV movie
It's
too?
it's let me look. I think it is. It was but it
Maybe Rose Red
Rose
actually.
Red. That's what it is. Rose Red. TV movie.
People love when you Google
Uh
that show.
oh, everyone loves it. Yeah, and it Kimberly J. Brown, the girl from Halloween Town's in it. The little girl, and I don't know if she's a lead or not, but anyway, that thing went reviral through like Twitter and TikTok. This because I think it hit Hulu. People say that's a pretty good one. I mean, there's the made-for-TV Carrie movie. Maybe we should just do a run of made-for-TV Stephen King.
Tommy Knockers. That's got Jimmy Smits in it.
I like Jimmy Smith. Anyway,
Who doesn't? We all do.
Dexter season 3, underrated villain, McGill.
He pops up on Brooklyn Nine-Nine. He's the
As
what's her name's dad.
yeah, he's great in Brooklyn Nine-Nine. The fucking pissing
He's great in
contest.
everything. He's Jimmy Smits.
He's Jimmy Smith's New Jersey's own.
New Jersey's own Jimmy Smits.
No, and then the other one I checked out, and I fell asleep through it, but I was on purpose. I was so when I get sick, I can't focus on shit.
Yeah.
In a sense, so
You,
I
you
like to
put
watch
something on and like then it
trash.
gives you that background noise to let you calm down. Like
I like trash, whether it's like J-Lo's Monster-in-Law, or like what I watched, Imaginary, that new one, and I was like, I fell asleep through some of
the
it.
horror one, right?
Yeah, I got
Okay.
the gist of it.
Yeah.
bad. Not worth
Yeah,
anyone's
well, the
time.
gist of it was in the trailer, and the gist of it was, hey, you remember a bunch of stuff from other movies?
That's what it was, and it also does the thing like you know how very different movies, weirdly enough, but you tell this got made because of the success of Megan.
Of course.
But you know how Megan does a really nice tone of being serious, then enjoyable, like all kind of killer doll movies have.
Yeah.
It balances itself out to be like not so serious all the time because it is everyone is playing this movie straight and serious, and it,
Yeah.
it sucks the air. And then I fell asleep.
It's like Sinister level.
Yeah,
They're trying to like really like double
yeah.
down on the.
Like I know it's not too interesting, but speaking of like falling asleep, which I didn't even log it in. I tried watching. I got those two James Cameron 4Ks, or
Oh, sure. The
I got
Abyss
I
and
got the Abyss and True
True
Lies. I
Lies.
don't need Aliens. I have it in the pack. Like I know they're to the collector community. They're losing. They looks the Abyss look great. I don't know what people's talking about. Whatever. Couldn't like the Abyss. Too good of a movie. Too tech. Too technical. Just was like this is for another day.
Yeah, like I
I'm
can't.
not
I
paying
need to like
attention.
I can't give this the attention it deserves.
Yeah.
I gotta. I can't do it.
Although it really is just Alien in underwater.
A little bit. A little
Yeah.
bit.
Anyway, moving on. But no, I finally, like I said, I'm finally feeling back to being like, yeah, let's pepper more horror into this diet again, and not just do it
Absolutely.
for the pod. Um.
That's right. Live
So,
this horror life.
oh yeah, but you know how you know what's gonna come all crashing down, and you know what happens from every year. Baseball starts in two
Oh,
days, and then
yeah,
that's when I come home and I go, well, there's something on that's 4 hours of just background noise.
yeah.
Pretty good.
I got that to just put on and zone out, and it's
Yeah.
gonna be
Oh, you want to
there.
watch a movie?
I can just check it out when I want. Like, what's that?
Sit there and go, oh,
Yeah,
every year it
yeah,
happens. All
yep.
all watching, playing just stops until you go, team's not that good. You're like, yeah, maybe we shouldn't use this stuff.
Let's go
Anyway,
watch a movie and we'll
yeah.
see.
Um, it's the truth. But today we're talking about It Follows 2015's.
15-ish.
You look it up, it says 14, but the movie's released in 15, so we're just called 15. 2015's It Follows, from David Robert Mitchell. And yeah, this was one we were kind of just both going back and forth, I think, of things we wanted to revisit.
Well, this is definitely one that I think now this is kind of a modern classic. Or
I I
most horror
this
fans are pretty high on this one.
I'm not ready to call it modern classic
No, you
because
don't think so?
I think it was getting that label right of those years. It was like, oh,
Mhm. Well, like
and it's
I was gonna say the hype when it came out was very
I think the
high,
hype immediately
and
called it a modern
it kind
classic
of
and
that was kind of like
disappeared.
the birth of the. We're kind of like in the early stages of the our elevated horror, right?
Yeah,
Same year The Witch comes out, Black Coat's Daughter, Devil's Candy, all come out 2015. So it's like we're kind of like starting to see that, right?
yeah. Hard. I mean, I just not to be a fucking stickler. I think Hard Candy's like 9 years earlier.
I
Yeah,
said the Devil's Candy.
no, you said Hard Candy.
No, I did not.
Okay, so say Hard Candy's like
I
2005.
said Devil's Candy.
Okay, all right, sorry,
Play
but
the
you're right.
tape.
Ah, no, you're right. This is the start of elevated horror. This is when
I mean, not that it's the
sinister.
first, but it's like starting to pick
No,
up
this is like
steam, right? Like,
Sinister's around. There's like people are like almost like not to look at everything as lists. Like we could update our new list and include things that feel matter. And I think It Follow hits that camp. I just
you don't
I
think it's
don't.
like held that status since then? You mean?
Yes, that's. I think it was hitting at that status, and I think better things have pegged it down. And I think this watch, which I like this movie, I want to say it before,
Hmm.
has lessened my how great this movie is from seeing it. This will be the third time I've watched it.
See, I think this is really interesting. So the movie came out super hyped up,
Hmm.
and I enjoyed it, but I really thought it was like it had some lulls. I was like, it's kind of slow in the middle, and I was like, and I feel like it's we talked about we off camera. We were talking about Drive, and it's like I feel like it's like riding a synth score. It's a little more style than substance. It's got like an
Hmm.
okay idea, but on this rewatch, I think I appreciated it more. So maybe
Oh,
we're
I
gonna
think we're
flip.
swapping
We're
because
gonna
this is
we're gonna
one of those.
swap it.
I
Ooh,
had this. This is like
serpentine.
This is like when we watched Barbarian, kind of where I was like, this second watch, knowing what's coming, I was a little more like, I get it, I appreciate it. Um, Fucking hysterical because I'm. It's not to totally. I just I have the Wikipedia left, but I haven't read it. Literally, one of the lines that just stood out to me. It has since achieved cult following, with many calling it a modern horror classic. You literally said, so I'm wrong in that
I mean,
it is.
I'm just saying. I feel like it's one of those movies that most horror fans, if
Oh, they
you
love it.
yeah,
I like it.
like universally positive response from
I like
most
it.
people.
I'm not
I
gonna be
always felt
negative.
like I was in the minority for not like getting on the hype train. Um, well, like I said, we can talk a little bit more
I
about where I
think that
landed on it this time around.
I think
Um,
that Sith score does some heavy lifting. There's such a 20. It's funny. So like some of the fun facts I pulled from are more so like it's a non-specific era. They made sure to make like the look and feel of it vague. The movie is also supposed to feel very dreamlike and not in re in and out of a reality. I don't know how well it achieves that, but that's what the director is
I mean,
going
I
for.
think but I think it does a little bit with that. But I was just like, I thought that was just the vibe of the movie because she's so restless because she can't get,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I
that's
don't feel like I don't feel like the world is dreamlike, but I do feel like there's an element of like
oh, there's a
her just kind of
vagueness.
like slipping in and out of time the way
It's
you do
this.
when you're really
I
tired.
I
Like
think the best example is that the scene of when they meet the fucking piece of shit who infects her at his house and the girl's
Jeff,
walking.
who is simultaneously the biggest piece of shit, but also maybe the most likable male character in the movie. That's just not. I'm just not saying there's. I'm just saying there's not very much to
Oh,
like
there's
about the
not.
men in this movie.
But yeah, it's but yeah, so but no, yeah, but like, literally my first note was, oh, I think it's the Sith score. I think it's the way it kind of looks a little bit. I was like, oh, this is the year I graduated college. This is 24. I mean, this is 2014. This is what a
I mean,
lot of
it definitely is
not
very
the movie, the feel, the
stylized for
style of the
sure.
movie.
Like
Um,
it's got that vibe that you're talking about, that post drive like synth
s-
score and long shots of people staring into the middle
mm,
distance and stuff like that.
Speaking we rarely ever talk about this stuff though, but I'm looking at it now is knowing the concept of the movie though and where it is. The poster of just the car
Mm,
lit up it's an incredible poster because it's like
it
you know what
is.
they're doing in that car. Um, but if you didn't, I don't know like what would like you show this to your mom. It's like what do you think this is about?
Yeah.
So yeah, the movie. I'm not even gonna read the synopsis on this one. Um, the movie though is we start off with this girl just like running out of her house, and she's all distraught. And I actually like that
Clearly running from something,
it's running in a
but
suburban
nobody else
neighborhood,
can see what she's
and
running from.
I like that. Even there's like a woman like taking out her groceries, I think, and she's like, "Are you all right?" Like she takes a minute to care, and then it's like she's like,
Yeah.
"I'm fine."
It's very
I
clear that she's not fine, but
Yeah, I thought she should have stayed maybe and watched her a little bit and be like, all right, back to my groceries.
yeah, she's like, well, she said she's fine, whatever.
And then the dad runs out. But anyway, this girl, she gets away. And next shot, she's on a beach. Shot probably even though it's in the first minute of the movie, most iconic
Is it the
shot of the
same
movie.
beach they go to later? It feels
Has to
like
be.
it is.
Has to be.
It feels like it
I
is.
mean, the movie was only done for $1 million,
Where does it
so
take place? Did they say?
let's see. I think supposed to be vague too. I just always kind of thought like New Englandy area.
See, I thought more like Michigan, like Detroit, and where you could
Oh, for
drive to the
how like
lake,
run
like somewhere
down.
where you could get to the like you could. Yeah, I don't know.
No,
Um, because there's
you're
some run, because there's do that thing. Because you know what? She doesn't she say that she has that whole thing where she talks about how her parents wouldn't let her go past 8 Mile, so it is Detroit.
it is Detroit. My bad. It's Detroit.
Boom, nailed it. It's Detroit.
And I think that they highlight on that like the abandoned homes later, like
Yeah.
the run of homes it could run through. Um, this and Barbarian, just nice double feature.
Oh
Actually,
yeah,
this is a
yeah.
very good double
Don't
feature.
Breathe is another one if you like to see abandoned homes in Detroit.
That's right. There's a run of horror in Detroit.
Yeah.
Uh,
We didn't talk about. Well, I guess we haven't got to her yet,
well,
but
we're still talking about.
yeah, I was gonna say the opening shot there at that beach. I like the phone call she makes to her dad and to her family. That's like a really good, uh, like that kind of thing. Like really like adds to the tension, that like desperation. In a moment when you don't know what's going on and the character is so scared like that is really good.
Yeah, we have no idea as the audience what to set up for. She's just and then and it never links back to that incident. It's just it's a setting up incident because it's not like in a Nightmare on Elm Street, right? You get the intro with Tina, and then we actually go back to being
And then
like,
Tina's part of the story. This girl is just not. We just
similar.
It's the cold open. She's just
It's
there to
cold
kind
open.
of like
There's a cold
give us a little
open.
tension, little scare. Because then the movie's going to move into a more traditional, almost feels like a John Hughesy kind of like
Yeah, it
opening.
starts off
Introduce the
like
friends, get ready for the date.
just like I'm gonna go on the date, and I the music's playing, and it's not too synthy at that point, and she sits down, and they're at the theater, and I actually love that scene though with the Jeff is like, we're just gonna call him Jeff. He's like, you see that girl in the yellow trench coat or yellow rain jacket or
Yeah, they're
whatever?
playing like a little game where they like pick out people and talk about them. A little
Hmm.
people watching game,
Yeah,
and
it's fun before a show,
yeah,
and then he's like, oh no, all right, get the fuck out of here. They run out. First, that should have been a red flag. Oh, she was like, what? Was that your girlfriend or something? And he's like, no, no. It's like, all right, you should just be done with this man.
yeah, like that should have been a pretty big red flag. But also, he's like, yeah, feel good, we got to run out of here. But then they instantly just go and hang out somewhere else. It's like, well, what was the deal? Why couldn't we watch that movie?
Yeah, it's like you're getting uncomfortable in crowds. It's like, but if you just mentioned like a girl, or if like your partner like, oh, they're like, what? I don't believe you. You're fucking around.
Yeah.
Uh, so it's that, and then we get a little cutaway to her with her friends, and like, so have you guys like fucked? And she's like, nah, not yet. Next scene is she's like, all right. They go. This this girl goes to the scariest locations the whole movie. Her go-to move is let me go to the most desolate, creepy locations. Before the but she goes, they're in this movie has a lot of water reference. She goes to they're on the beach, and I was like, oh no, don't hang on the beach. That's sand everywhere. You
Yeah,
don't
of
want to
course.
do
Yeah,
that.
I always think that every time I see people start to make out on a beach, I was like, gross. Stop. Don't do it.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Also,
always
beaches always smell weird. Like, don't
yeah, I always
at
think
the
even though
beach.
there's in movies specifically, I always think of how silly it is in it's not a good Adam Sandler, but there's the Just Go With It Adam Sandler and him and Brooklyn Decker, supermodel, have their night on the beach and sleep on the bed. I'm like, this is just no. You're like 2 40-year-olds.
Right.
Like, come on. But yeah, in general, no beach, just so but they go to the car, uh they get it done.
Everything, and I like that this is all very consensual. Like they show her
Yeah.
thinking about it. Like I said, she doesn't sleep with him at the first date. She goes home. She talks to her friends. She's like living her. You know what I mean?
He's
They're making a
seemingly a good guy, at least in
right,
her
right.
eyes.
They're making her. Like she. This isn't. a spur of the moment thing that happens. She's like, and then, but then, so they have like their nice consensual love scene, and then it's weird because then they get into their, and I guess we should say trigger warning for sexual assault and kind
Yeah,
of like
definitely.
STD and rape metaphor and everything in this movie, because
Yeah,
there's a little bit, because they do have this kind of like sexual assault vibe, but it happens after consensual sex, which is very
it's
strange.
yeah, it's
Like,
very unnerving too, because she's laying. Jay is the name of her lead. She's like laying in the back of the car. She's like flirting. Of like, I didn't know. Literally, how you talk, pillow talk after,
sure.
and then he just comes behind her and starts gagging her with
Chloroforms or
chloroform, and
whatever, yeah.
it's no music, quiet. It's the sounds of it, and that's no matter where you put it, it's always disturbing.
And then you
Um,
definitely don't ever want to wake up tied to a
no,
wheelchair.
she wakes up tied to a chair, and
We
like,
don't like that.
because I know what the movie is, I'm like, all right, he didn't actually rape her.
Right. But it
In
still, like I
that
said,
sense.
feels that way. Like,
Oh, it feels that way, and
I
it's
mean, it's
supposed.
still obviously an assault, and she's still
It's an
obviously
assault.
being victimized. But it's just so weird to like have all this kind of like
Love.
very rapey
Yeah.
vibe to the
Oh,
stuff that
sorry.
happens after consensual sex. Like
Yeah, no, right after. But there's one thing that happened where I've come to the conclusion. So when people talk about this movie, they're like, yeah, it's metaphor for STDs, right? I've come to the conclusion after this watch. There's one thing later. I think it's full blown like sexual assault. Nothing to do with really STDs, because later in the movie, spoiler, when she transfers it, and she could then see with how they could see the other
yeah,
people being attacked, like other followees, we'll call them
right.
zombies,
Other victim, yeah, other
walking around. That's when I was like, oh, that's clearly showing us as the view, or as like the metaphor of, oh, well, now I could see it everywhere. I could sense
right.
when this has happened to someone else. I know
Well,
it's
I
happened.
can see from the perspective of a person who's been through this
Yeah,
also. Like I myself a victim,
yeah.
I've learned.
Why
Well,
else?
also, and I the same thing. The STD metaphor is the thing everybody always went to, and it's because
I've
you
said it
pass it
before.
on through sex. But I think that's like, yeah, that's a pretty surface level reading. I was thinking about it this time, and I was like more broadly how like reckless decision making can haunt you,
Yeah,
or like sometimes something that you think is good, like a relationship with someone you think you really care about, can turn bad, and that can follow you for a
it's
long time.
it,
And
it
and
oh,
you
sorry.
know what I mean? So I was like, I just feel like that has more to do with,
It's bad decision making.
yeah, and
Because
not even
even
bad decisions, but like reckless, thoughtless decision,
reckless
like
is
just kind
better.
of like you know,
Well, think of it's almost it's the opposite of, because the effects happen here. It's the opposite of Eyes Wide Shut. Uh, but because Tom Cruise is trying to make all these terrible decisions, but the universe won't let him.
yeah, he
Uh,
keeps getting thwarted.
um, no, but think of like, and we'll go back to what like the rules tied up are, but later on, Jeff says, like his bad. He's like, I don't know, I don't even know the girl's name. I just had a night out, picked her up, and sound. It's weird to say. It probably was a normal night for the guy partying in his college and
Yeah.
whatever, and uh, then not right. That's a
Well, he even
reckless
tells
decision.
her, he mentions her, like when they're confronting him about it, he's like, it should be easy for you. And that's the thing, it probably was easy for the girl who gave it to him. Because if
Hmm.
a girl comes on strong, a pretty girl comes on strong to you, most guys are like, yes,
Sure.
please, thank you, of
Well,
course. Like,
I want to get to that later
yeah,
in
we're jumping ahead. It's okay. We always
uh
do.
but we always do. But the she wakes up tied to the chair though, and he just info dumps the movie we're about to see. He says,
Yeah.
he's like, you're I pass this thing on to you. If you see people walking towards you that don't look, that kind of look essentially dead and otherworldly, I don't remember the exact wording he uses, just run away, get as far as you can. They can only travel on foot. And
Never be in an area with like without two exits.
yeah, he
They're
really
not, they're slow, but they're not stupid. And they
he
can problem solve and
he
stuff. Like,
gives her great information in the worst possible way.
yeah, but and again, I mean I understand not like what he does, but like his mentality of like, she will not believe me if I try to just tell her this.
No, I gotta make an impact because he literally. But so he tells
But
her all of
like he
this.
has to like force her to listen, but like also yeah, he does it in the worst possible way. I don't know how you could possibly do it, but this is not how you should have done it.
And he also just wants to, I mean, his plans fall to begin with because he should do what the end of the movie did. But
We don't
you
know
know,
if the girl at the beginning who got it was another girl he tried to pass it to and it didn't work. Really,
oh
that
yeah, I
could be
never
something
thought of that.
it could be this could be like a desperation maneuver where he's like, okay, I didn't even tell the last girl, and it got her immediately because she didn't know what to look for, so I have to warn this girl.
Mm.
They don't delve into that stuff, which is good. It's to the movie's benefit to not get into it. This movie very much has the Gremlins problem, where if you start to think about it too much, it falls, it unravels immediately.
There's never been a more premise like this that is just like on a house of cards, just
Because I
but
was like, okay, it travels by foot. What if I went to England? Could it cross the ocean? Like, does it walk across the ocean? How long
also
does that take?
why are there so many different entities going on at the same time to get me? If it knows if it's
Well, I always thought it was just one thing that's following her. It can just make itself look like whatever, right?
oh, you're probably right.
I think it's just one thing.
Because it
It
makes herself
follows.
look
It's
like
just
her
one.
father.
I think he says there's just one, and it's always the same thing following you. It can just make itself look. It could look like something you know, or it could look like somebody you've just
Okay.
seen before, or a stranger, or whatever.
So,
But like as far as the rules go, like I said, okay, the travel the distance thing is one thing. What about also what about gay sex? Because he's all like, oh, it's easy for a girl or a guy. Could a guy pass it to another guy? Could a girl? Does it have to be Does it come from penetration? Could two girls pass it? You know what I mean?
I
There's so.
bet you
What about group sex? Could you pass to everybody like a super spreader event?
that yes, I think 100%.
Yeah. And then in that case, if you pass it to everybody at the same time, how does the entity decide who to go after first?
Who had come last?
It's coming order.
Coming order.
Okay.
I'm
Light out
I
first.
also
First is worst. Sorry, guy.
I also like. I unfortunately, it's getting a sequel.
Yeah, that's
they
because
follow.
It's kind of because the director went to director jail after him because his follow-up movie was kind of a flop, right? Isn't that the deal with that? He made Under the Silver Lake with Andrew Garfield.
Oh, people really like that movie. I bet that doesn't mean shit.
Movie weirdos like that movie.
Movie weirdos like that. But yeah,
I haven't personally seen it, so I cannot judge it. But I've never seen a normal guy be like, "Hey, have you seen Under the Silver?" You know what I mean? It's only like niche film Twitter people. It might be very good. I'm not saying it's not, but like it flopped, and like a lot of it seemed like normies didn't like it very much.
Oh, they did not like it. Normies. So he did that.
And so he's kind of been in director jail since then. To get out, he's gonna have to make the It Follows sequel, which is a bummer. Do we know? Did he get Micah Monroe back? Because she's kind of a bigger star now than she was.
She is. It says she is returning.
Good for her. I liked her. I love her in The Guest, and she had that movie come out, Watcher, this year. That was good.
This also has the same fucking vibe as The Guest.
Yeah, The Guest had that synth, but also.
A good way. It's a good. It's not a negative.
Your Next kind of has that too. That feels like they were already doing that a little bit.
There's an era of horror that relies on that synth and that vibe. Hell, even I know I've mentioned it way too much here. Summer of '84 has that vibe. It has the Stranger Thingsness to it, but it also has this airiness to it as well.
Listen, I will watch Manhunter. Don't make me do it.
No, you already made us watch Manhunter.
I know. We'll do it again.
I'm down. I bought it.
No, go watch our old Manhunter episode though. That's good.
It's good stuff. It is good. But yeah, so Brian, but that's where the holes are. I'd imagine in They Follows, you probably get a few of those answers right. It's 2024.
That's the problem. I don't want those answers.
I don't either. Yeah,
They're just gonna make it dumb and make it and make it make less sense than it does. It's like,
I think.
did you ever see the what's the one Happy Death Day? Did you see the Happy Death Day sequel?
Oh, Happy Death Day to You, where
Yeah,
it's then like a time travel movie.
right when they like totally like over explain every aspect of it and like totally ruin everything that's fun about the first
Well,
movie.
that was one. I didn't say rude. That was one though, where Lisa was like,
It's not a terrible movie,
"Oh,
but it's like this is so they did not need to do
they
this.
pivoted. They were like, Deadpool's popular.
Yeah,
Um,
so
I wish they that one. I wish they just didn't explain. I wish they kept it as it is. You just don't need to explain it all. You're like, this is
mhm.
what's going on. Um, but yeah, so Jay gets dumped. Jay literally gets dumped on the front lawn with her friends sitting there, and even she's like the trashy, like the white trash family on the street. So
And we
that's
definitely get some of that like shitty cop victim blamey
oh well.
like
The one thing she says no, I consent in, and the cop just kind of did. Then you see her dismiss because what notes before that hits is oh thank God they at least fucking called the cops though instead of just
yeah.
being like
But because of this, they don't call the cops later.
yeah they don't they get his out. So her friends are like. These are some of the most ride or die friends. Fuck the Goonies. The It Follows kids are like, yeah, we'll hang around. Uh but she does this. She kind of loosely explains it. It happens. I mean,
Well, she goes to she's in the hospital and she does tell them what he told her, but they kind of everybody's just kind of like
that's
that's
to
so
dismiss it.
weird.
Yeah.
It just seems like such a weird thing to because why would you believe it?
Do you? What is your? Who would like of it? What's the scariest it scene for you? Like, what's?
Oh, I think hands down it's when the tall man comes through
Yep.
the
The
door. Like
seven
that's like an
seven tall.
iconic shot when it
Yeah.
comes up behind. But I did think that the way it appears right before that, that's a very like sexual assault victimy, uncomfortable look to the girl with like she likes peeing on the floor, she's standing there, she's all
Oh,
beat up. That's very
it's
upsetting.
upsetting.
So like, and then to
It's like
lead in,
yellow, dirty piss.
yeah, and then but then like obviously the tall man scare is like iconic. It's probably the most memorable thing in the movie.
That and the intro limbs broken on the beach.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh but yeah, that so but we get the tall man pretty early, right? She gets home, she
right.
has some
They
things.
kind of like having a sleepover. Well, she
Well
she
well
doesn't believe it, but then she has like a weird experience at
at school.
school.
She
She
sees a
sees
woman
something.
walking across the the DMZ or whatever they call it these days and like looks like someone right out of, like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, like
Right, right.
all white, and she just starts running, and that's literally the minute she starts running, she doesn't kind of. Actually, no, she fucking does stop the movie. There's a few things in this that drive me crazy, and I'm glad we're getting to it. That night, her one friend's like a dweeb. He was on United States of Tara. He's always playing a
Paul.
dweeb. Paul,
Yeah,
first name is fucking Paul. Uh, Paul's that's a Paul look.
yeah.
Sorry,
True,
not, but
true.
Paul.
Sorry, the Wonder Years marked Pauls forever. They all look
Yeah,
like that
and
now.
I know one really cool Paul. Doesn't look anything like that, but like outlier. Um, this Paul, he's like, I'll sleep, and they're like teasing, like, all right, you've been in forever because all these people have been best
Yeah.
friends for all. But she's like, no, I'd like that. You stay on the couch, and um, she gets
Right,
up.
like they're all she's kind of freaked out, so they're all gonna
hmm
have a sleepover and stay.
Her sister's home. It's alluded to. The mom's never around. She's a bit of an alcoholic. It's very alluded to. Like,
Yeah, they don't really get into much with the parents. The I was gonna, we can wait to talk about the reveal with, what's going on with her dad, but like her mom's, yeah, kind of just absent. They
she's
don't
just
really
abs.
get
I
into
did
it
a
too
little reading
much.
on that. They said like it's alluded a little of the alcoholism, not too much.
Well, I'll tell
Um,
you who's got a secret drinking problem in this movie. It's Paul.
I didn't pick up on it.
Yeah, there's a couple different times he's got like a can of something, and the girl asks him for a drink because I think it's got booze in it. And later he's got his little flask out. He's got that a couple different times later in the movie. I think it's supposed to. I think the Paul's got a little bit of. He's one of those quiet like
Uh,
teen drunks that you don't suspect. I think he's
that
got a little bit of that
that's
going on.
that's a depth to a character that doesn't even need that.
Yeah.
So in that scene, why I want to bring piss me, it's sort of just dumb movie things, and the director did say like includes things in this movie that are like their kids. I want it to be dumb. I don't
Yeah,
want them to have
sure.
the answers. When she wakes up, she's scared. They watch that movie on the couch, and the noise happens, and she's like, "Oh, oh." He just goes, "Oh no, just someone broke the window, but he probably ran away. He's pretty scared." And they just sit in the fucking house, and they're like, "Well, shouldn't do anything." Yeah, should they call the cops? Nah, which I get. They
Yeah.
just went through that, but
But like at least like clean up the glass and
the
put something up over the window or
chillness of a window got broken.
just a
Someone
window broken in the middle of the night, nothing to worry about.
someone assumably just to everyone else raped this girl,
Yeah.
and also she believes something's coming
For all
after her.
intents and purposes, all assaulted her in every other way possible
Yes, that's what I mean.
besides
Like,
the
yeah,
rape. Like,
yeah, she got assaulted. That's what we'll say. Keep saying,
yeah,
but
absolutely.
that's what everyone believes. It's all of that, all baked in. They're just like, nah. She believed it. It's the only time in this whole movie I went, you dumb. Like, other than
Yeah,
the
for the most
ending.
part, you're right. Her friends are really good movie friends.
Yeah.
They stick with her, they hang, they don't like bail, they don't get pissed at her for the most part. Like, they don't
So
question her, they just like support her basically unconditionally.
yeah. So yeah. They do. They really do. They find her and they're like, all right, we'll roll with you. Screw school. Screw our response. I didn't.
Yeah.
Um, but that's when, people around, and that's our tall man shot eventually because they're hanging out at the kitchen table. And
Right.
she just,
They hide out in the bedroom, and she's all freaked out, and she doesn't want them to open the door, and they open the door, and in comes like behind the girl. It's yeah, you like
she books it. And this is what I said. She goes to the fucking creepiest spot. Oh, I got a bucket. Let me go to the woods. I'm
yeah.
sorry.
Well,
Let
she
me go
goes
to
to
the
like a play.
beach.
Isn't it like a
It's like a
playground in the
playground, which I
woods?
think's near the beach
Now,
or
to
woods
be
too.
fair, she's going to a place she knows. This is her neighborhood. She's running to a place she remembers from childhood. That's probably a happy memory place for her.
Well, a swing set in film is very.
A abandoned park in the middle of the night is a very creepy vibe for sure.
It's that, and even the time she goes to the beach later on or to sleep, I think she sleeps on the hood of her car at a certain point when
Yeah.
she runs away. I just you look, if you run down the street and there's a wooded area with a path or lights of just I'm gonna keep running down the lights, not to the right of the wooded path. Especially if fucking um if Chief from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest is chasing me.
Yeah, no shit. The Twin Peaks guy is after
Yeah.
you or whatever. Like,
So, but like I said, I read, and the director very much was like, I did a lot of things to be like purposely of like kids aren't smart. They're not gonna have the so
I wish
does
more people. I honestly, that criticism of movies really pisses me off a lot. And it's probably because I'm such a Prometheus defender, and that was always some people. But
I
like
fucking
the
hate
idea
it.
that every character has to make perfect decisions every time, and no one ever acts against their own best interest. Like, do you not live in the world? Have you not seen a human being or talked
Hey,
to a person? Like,
1 out of 2 of those Prometheus criticisms are are completely answered, and people are just don't listen. When
yeah,
the scientists take their helmet off, they go, "The oxygen, our computers tell us the oxygen levels are good. We can do this."
yeah, we can breathe.
Uh and then her running and not just going left when that's rolling.
Yeah.
It's a movie. We need to see Eggers die.
Also, the spaceship is huge.
It's
Like you,
huge. It's
like I
the
think they just don't do a
perspective
good.
is
I think maybe Ridley didn't do a good enough job of giving you the idea that you couldn't run to the side fast if you're still going to get squashed. It's a whole spaceship. It's gigantic.
yeah, yes. It's a big perspective. Anyway, we love that movie. It's the best. Um,
But yeah,
but
again, I
yes,
like that in movies. I don't mind like when characters make
No,
there's a difference when a character makes a decision that's against their character. That's the problem.
and I
Like
think this girl's
when it doesn't feel
character,
like a natural progression.
this,
That's where I get hung up,
yeah,
you
I
know. And I
guess
don't think we
this,
have this movie has that issue.
no, it doesn't. It doesn't. It was for me it's the one thing with the broken glass and everyone being so fucking cool about it.
No, it would be cool. Also, if you've ever had your house broken into or something like that,
It's terrible.
it freaks you out. Like you would be like on an adrenaline high the rest. You wouldn't sleep the rest of the night when that if
We
that shit happened.
in our old apartment, thank God I never got broken into, but I had that one scare once where I was away. I was literally away, I stayed over, and the next morning Laura's like, "Yeah, there our screen on our thing's all bent up. Do you think an animal or something?" I'm at this batch. I'm, you're in. I got
Yeah,
to get home.
panic
I got to
like
do this.
immediately like
I was
flipping
like, "You were
out.
alone? Like what?" And she's like, "Didn't think I was like." Then I freak. I'm like, "Call the cops." Do the, we go through all the things.
Yeah,
She sleeps with parents. Go. I can't. I can't get home till Sunday. This is like happens like Saturday morning.
right.
My vibe of this party ruins completely. I don't want a sip of alcohol. I'm just like,
Yeah,
I'm not. Everyone agree, but
I'm not
Sunday,
having a good time.
no. Saturday, I make it through. Sunday, I get back. First thing I do, go to Home Depot, buy those fucking cameras, buy PVC. PVC put it through so you can't open a door. Like,
Yeah.
and then we moved out of the place in like a month. But it was very
Right.
like it changes that atmosphere of
Yeah.
I don't want to be
Yeah, something
fucking
like
here.
that. Like you're 100% right. There'd be a bigger reaction, especially when you're already on edge. Like she's already anticipating something. So like,
Hmm.
of course you would react if a fucking window got broken. But I
She's
do
just a
think these.
chill girl.
Yeah,
That's
but I do
really
think it's okay because I do think the scares are very effective in that scene. Um, I think this whole movie, honestly,
that's
is
effective
a
scare. It's scary.
masterclass in tension. I think they do a really good job.
That's why I was pretty. I mentioned it. I think when we were deciding this, um, this got ranked in Shudder's 101 scariest movie moments. They like redid that Bravo thing
Yeah, I
last
remember.
year.
Yeah.
This is the first thing they highlight. It's like 101, and I
Okay.
was like, you got to put it lower, at least in the 90s or even like late 80s. Like
Yeah.
101, it's like
Those kind of lists are tailor designed to make me mad.
yeah, they're like,
Immediately you get to something that's low and you're like, that needs to be higher.
and that's the first movie they highlight, and I was like, there's too much of a bite in this movie. This movie actually does enough and has enough scare where I'm like, that's not 101. 101
No.
is like that's your honorable mention at that
No,
point.
this movie is really good. It's got a lot. It's really tense. It really is nerve wracking. It does a lot with very minimal gore and all the it uses jump scares, but it uses them very effectively. It doesn't overuse them or
There's
like
one
use
there's
cheap. It doesn't use cheap sound effect jump scares. It's real legitimate like surprises. Um, it's
well the
no, it's a
kid
very it's when I remember but looking back on it, there's a stretch and we're getting to it. We're basically at it in the plot. And it's basically that they decide they need to find the guy that she slept with,
yeah,
who ends up
get us
being
there.
Jeff. His name's Jeff. He gave her fake name.
And they go
They
to the
do a little
school.
research. They like go to the place he had rented where he clearly was squatting in like the ghetto. They figure out what high school he went to. They go and do a little research there, and then they go and talk to him, and he gives them the scoop about kind of. He doesn't really tell them much more, honestly. He's just
But they
like,
have like this really nice like it's once again this kind of
well, this
silly
is
is the
kind of
wrong
why I
word. It's
said something about Jeff ending up being because in reality he's like he is sorry about the way he had. He's like you do get the impression that he's like he just didn't know what else to do. He wanted to impress upon her how important, how like serious the situation was, and like he fucked up and he did a really weird, gross assault to her.
yeah.
But like he does feel like he was desperate, like he didn't have feel like he had a choice or he couldn't come up with any other thing to do, which is not an excuse. Obviously, I'm not trying, you
No,
know.
because at the end of the day, everyone, spoiler, should Jeff should just did what Paul fucking did and go to a
Mm,
it's not fair or anything.
I
Go to a
don't
sex worker
know.
who's going
Hold
to
on.
spread that thing like wildfire.
I think you're wrong, and I think we're gonna get to the ending here, and we'll talk about the final
Yeah, but
shots.
hold on a bit.
But we hold on, we'll get there.
Yeah.
But they do talk to Jeff, and like I said, he doesn't give him much more new information. I don't think he basically is just like the only thing you can do is stay ahead of it, and if you get far enough away, it like that'll buy you more time. So they like decide they're gonna travel more. I do like the little bit, and they do it
That's
once
my
with
favorite.
her,
It's
and they
my
do it
favorite
once with
part.
Jeff. They're like, "Can you see her?" And they're
That's
like,
my favorite part because
"Yeah,
she looks like from afar. It's just this girl like walking home from soccer practice or whatever,
yeah."
and it looks like the cadence. It's a really really good bit.
It is a funny gag, and they do it like one other time with her earlier than that. But it's funny. It's the best when they do it with Jeff. But then
Um,
they take a little vacation and they go to the beach. And like I said, this is the patch, and like we're leading up to the beach has like a big like set piece at the end of it. So
the
this is the
slower
part that this is the
patch.
stretch that felt slow to me, and I wanted to say that I think this time it's just because it's the only time the movie really lets up on the tension at all.
The
And
talk.
I think that's why to me at the time it felt slow, but now I'm just like, no, it's just a little bit of a break before we get back into it. It's fine. It's
Yeah.
built into the plot of the movie. I
The
think in my mind before I was like, this needs another scare in it because this movie has just been like on me. Like, you know what I
the
mean? I feel
pace
like
of it. I this I had no I've no still have no problem with the pace of it. So
no, like I said, I feel like I there wasn't a problem. The problem was with me,
mm,
not the movie, you know.
yeah. No, for me, like I said, the third time watching this now since its release, it's I guess just the scare's gone, and that's not the movie's fault. Because I remember the first time this being not like a full blown like how I say Hereditary when I first saw it really scared me. And that's hard to do for us these days. Something that really gets under your
Oh,
skin.
sure, sure.
I remember like this getting under my skin. I mean, not that crazily under my skin, but enough. Um, but yeah, so but yeah, the beach, yeah, there's breathe like, yeah, there's no tension on the beach. There's a
Yeah.
safeness to it. Um, how far they drove though, because guess who shows up?
I mean, what they got there overnight.
Remember, it's
They
crafty.
only they're only there one night, right? That's like the
Yeah,
next day. It moved. It moved. They should have gone farther, but I guess you got limited options. They had to go where they could go. They don't have unlimited places or option, you know. So they went the farthest thing they could think of, which was Kids Beach House or whatever. Um, I do love the way they play out that scene though, the way you see her walking up in the background, and this is the first time that the thing has like chosen to try to look like somebody in the group. We haven't seen that before.
yeah,
We know you know, technically we know it can. It's, you know, Jeff told us, but
but we haven't
we haven't
seen it.
seen it do that.
'Cause it tries, yeah, it looks like friend,
Oh, her name is Yara, and
like
in my
yeah.
mind, as we're getting gearing up for this scene, I thought she was gonna get killed or something was gonna happen to
Oh, the
her.
movie's body count is two.
Yeah, but also I even started to wrote I was like the extra friend Yara only existed to die, but then I crossed it out and because later and wrote get shot because later she accidentally gets shot.
Well, that's
But
the crazy part.
she is totally you could like you kind of jettison her. I don't know why she's in this movie. You could kind of jettison that character. They don't really do anything with her. She's just
No,
there. Honestly, I feel like they're like, well, groups of friends have four. We can't just have three. That's weird. Groups of friends have four.
especially two dudes.
Yeah. Well,
One,
then we get the creepy neighbor guy comes in. He's like a fifth guy, but like their
oh, that's
core
who.
group is four people. It's, you know, her and her
It's three
sister and the
girls.
two
Yeah,
friends. So like I feel like that's somebody was just like, well, of course we have to have four people. You
yeah,
know,
creepy neighbor guy.
we didn't talk enough about creepy neighbor because he
He
kind of.
deserves it.
Oh yeah, well he's clearly. We'll talk about
I know.
whether
Let's stay on the
he
beach.
believes in any of this at all.
No, he's
But
the most
like,
dismissive of it, and he tries. He preys on her.
well, yeah, he's preying on the whole group. He's clearly doing a thing where he's like, because he's like looking over the Yara girl too, and I think he's like I'm just gonna hang around this group of like vulnerable girls. One of them is gonna when one of them gives me the opportunity, I'm gonna take it. You
Yeah.
know, like,
Um. Yeah. And yeah, he's a piece of shit. But the beach, the catalyst why I stay here. So this is when whoever's brilliant idea was we should shoot them. Hysterical.
Yeah, I love that
Look,
the shooting is so good. So yeah,
uh,
they get the thing attacks her on the beach and it gets a hold of her. I like the
it
scene where
gets
the
her.
hair goes up.
So
That's fun.
that's what everyone sees, and then Paul gets thrown aside. So people see that there is now a
There's
supernatural,
something to interact with. They know that it's
and
there, even though they can't see it.
it also shows us as the audience, and this is where like once we start picking hole, whatever is, oh, it need, and we see actually what happens later, but it actually needs to get you and grab you and do like it can't just get close. Getting close to you isn't good enough.
It has to like grapple you and like get a hold of you.
Yeah. Um. So and then you get that other scare of like they kind of run through that shed thing and the little boy's head and what I say it looks like. Um. But yeah, that's like the big scare
It's a little
of that.
creepy ginger kid, and then it's funny. I didn't never notice before. I've only
Oh, he
seen this
looked
movie
like
once.
Big Pete from Pete and Pete.
Yeah, he does. Well, later you see that kid again. He's on the bike when they're
Oh,
leaving at the end. So he's a kid from the neighborhood, and that's like it was. So it was mimicking somebody she had seen. She recognized. We just didn't know it.
it's a
Like,
mimic. It's like
but later,
it's
like
like
later,
the
I
thing.
saw that. I noticed it's like right near the end when they're leaving the house to go do something. I think it might be when they're leaving to go do their pool
Mm.
plan. You see that kid on the bike, like the actual kid. I was like, oh shit, there he is. Um, but uh,
Um,
but yeah, they get away. I can't remember how they end up getting away on the beach, but I do love that they're constantly shooting at each other. It's so funny. Trying to shoot an invisible thing, and your friends are on the other side, and you're just
like
like
no, not
constantly
me. I'm
throwing
around
shots
here.
at
And
them.
they like kind of clip the thing,
Yeah.
which is still
Which you find out basically it can be slowed down,
it
but it
could be
can't be stopped with a bullet. Like you're not
no,
gonna be able
it
to kill
can't
it that
die.
way.
It's an entity.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, no. Well, I'm just making sure. Is this? Yeah, no. She flees. She flees like it's the beach area,
Hmm.
and that's when she crashes the car, and like
Oh,
then
that's right.
they wake up, and then Yara wakes up at the hospital again 'cause she got clipped by the bullet.
No, no, that's later. Yara doesn't get
Oh
clipped till at the
fuck.
pool.
Well, oh sorry, she wakes up at the
She's at the
hospital
hospital. This is
again.
where she gets the cast on her
The
hand, right, from the
cast.
accident. Yeah.
Um,
So she's in the
sorry guys.
hospital again.
Sometimes these get recording late, and the tire is set into your brain.
It's okay. It's okay.
Um, but yeah, she's at the hospital, and then it's kind of where they like kind of slows down a little bit, but not really. This is when that piece of shit neighbor Jake comes through,
Yeah,
and he's like, "You could bang me."
yeah, they're like they're gonna give it a shot. They're gonna do Jeff's plan of just pass it along, and then now this is an interesting situation here. He, we know he immediately passes it on. Like the next scene, they show him talking to a different girl, and I believe that's to imply that he is
That
also
he
gonna
passed it
pass it
on.
to a
Okay.
girl. And then when everybody's questioning him, he's saying he's not seeing anything. He's not
Hmm.
seeing anybody follow him now. There's two things. He could just not be seeing anything, or he could just not be noticing because he doesn't take it seriously because he never believed
I
in it from the in the first place.
I think he might have not seen anything up until a certain point,
Well, the
just
thing is, it's like he's
because
saying he doesn't see anything, but it could be following that other person and finishing them off first. So maybe it hasn't moved on to him yet. So that
that's
could
what
be why he's not
well
seeing anything.
that's probably what happens. That's
Yeah.
why it's like you need to almost be in such a far lineation away from that thing, and it sounds like you never stop seeing it too, right? Like part of its lore, like you're never gonna stop seeing it. It's just not gonna be able to kill you.
But he never
Um,
tells them that he passed it to someone else. I don't get the
no,
impression.
no, this is all an assumption. There's two assumptions, right?
Yeah.
Um, so she, uh, but yeah, Jake does that. They bang, and then she's like, "All right, all good," and they're neighbors, and she sees someone crawling, breaking into her house like a fucking burglar.
It's like him. It looks like him, right? It looks
It's
like
vague, it
Greg.
kind of, but it's all the white still.
He's in like a white, like, look, but I thought it looked very much like the kid who lived there, which would be smart. The entity would want to, like,
Hmm.
not draw attention to itself in that way, breaking into your own house. They say it's slow, but not stupid.
Yeah,
Um,
and
but,
it
uh, but either way, she can't get there, and she's doing a Nancy. She's yelling from
Yeah,
across the street.
well, this movie, like a lot of movies, and it's noted, it's all inspired by other horrors. Like that is 100%. Even their names apparently are all pulled from,
Well,
you
I'm
know.
sure you're going to talk about when we took it to the pool scene, but the Are You Afraid of the Dark episode. I'm sure if you lined up when that episode aired to the age of the director, there's like no way this
I'm
person didn't
I'm
see
not
that
wrong.
shit.
I'm not wrong here, right? I was
There's
waiting
at
on it.
least an element of it, I would
Yes,
say.
it's not perfect, but it was like so. So she gets in, right? She runs across the street, and she's like, "No, no." He's like, disguised as a mother with a nice titty hanging out.
I did not remember this part. I don't know if I like looked at wasn't paying attention, but I did not remember that the entity killed from with fucking.
Well, that is. I didn't remember that, but it's true. They die while the limbs are broken because they have to essentially mount them and fuck them to break their
Yeah, I
bones
was gonna
and
say
get
that
on them.
really gives you an implication of like I don't like the implication of what the entity did to the girl with the leg all bent the wrong way.
Yeah,
That's mm,
but he had
I
the
don't like
same
that.
kind of the way you don't see, but he kind of had the same posture.
Yeah, and
Uh,
does that make the It Follows creature the second most famous horror rape monster after the alien from Alien?
there has to be another one in there.
I mean, I'm sure there is, but it's more famous. I don't
The
know.
centibites.
I don't know. They're not rape; they're torture. They're S&M-y, but they don't really do sex stuff. They're like more tortury.
Yeah, probably it's probably
They're
the follow.
pain, pleasure through pain.
It's probably the follow monster then.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so now she's just like fucked. All right, whatever. Uh, she
Well,
wants
this
to.
is where now we get like Paul has had this like pathetic incel energy. He's got that real kind of like I'm a nice guy. You should want to fuck me because I'm so nice. Kind of like he
Yeah,
doesn't. I'm glad. See, there's so many things I like about this movie on the rewatch, and I think it's because I've seen so many Bloomhouse movies that like they don't like they would have not been able to a Bloomhouse movie would not be able to resist giving Paul lines that actually like spell that out. You
yeah.
know what I mean? Like
Oh,
they'd have had to have him say it. They couldn't just leave it the way it is. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like
And like they do
and
a
I
good
really
job.
appreciate that about this movie. There's stuff left on the table for you to chew on. You know?
They do a good job also at Paul and Jay's friendship where she's just like, you're my first kid. Like it lets you know he's like, yeah, he's thought about that
Well, to
every
her it
day.
was puppy love, but he's
Yeah,
clearly like hanging on. Like
yeah.
he's
Even
carrying
when
that torch real high.
even when they're there's a shot early when they're driving around, right, and it's all the friends and um it's the one who goes with them. I don't think maybe it is Jake. And he's driving and she's sitting up front.
Hmm.
And then with the beach, it's I think the guy's name says Greg on here.
You talking about
Uh
the neighbor Greg? Yeah.
yeah, Greg who comes with him. He's a little bit of like a not a bigger
Oh,
built,
Paul's
but like
definitely got jealous. He's jealous of
but like
Naomi,
he's like a little
obviously.
traditionally masculine more. Puts his arm like not driving, but like very much like I have a confidence up here in this and like Paul's in the back seat just like
All Weasley and
yeah.
nerdy and yeah, and there's definitely that thing of like, why doesn't she appreciate me more?
Yeah.
And it's like, but like I said, I like that
Does
they're
a
subtle
really
enough
good
with it.
job.
But he does fully like go full patheticville and is like begging to
Oh,
to.
he's
He's
like
like, oh, I will gladly die to fuck you, please, oh
yeah,
man.
he's like please in what looks like the least arousing sex anyone's ever had. Let me do it.
Oh, that I was gonna say eventually, but first they're gonna try the pool plan. They like,
So
she's like,
the
no, I
so
would rather do a crazy plan than try to
can
have
you
sex with
break
you,
and
Paul.
this is I think people from what I could read that are like not a fans of the movie, this is where they're like, it lost me here. This is where the director I think has the most logic. He was like, no, I put this in there. I know it's a bad plan, but kids are stupid.
Yeah, it's a plan that
And
a
he's
kid comes up with.
yeah, he's like I think he said something along the lines of, yeah, I didn't want to include something where like all of a sudden someone says, this is how you get to defeat the evil demon. Like
Yeah,
like they're like that just wouldn't. It's probably not going to happen. So this plan, Brian, can you lay out this plan, and then I kind of want to lay their
So,
plan
well,
out.
they carry what I don't know. I don't think those people had enough bags for all the stuff they end up bringing out. But
So much.
they have a lot of electronics and extension cords and power cords, and they get it set up basically all around the pool. They have all these electronics, and what they're going to do is they're going to use her to lure the thing into the pool. They think if it's in water, first of all, they'll be able to see it moving in the water, even though it's invisible, and then they'll be able to throw these electronics into the water and zap it and kill it.
Yeah,
That's their plan, or stun it at least. Something's gonna happen. They're gonna do something.
that is the catalyst of their plan. I had Brian. It's in our intro. It's this. There's an episode already for the dark called Dead Man's Float. It's
Mhm.
top top 3 episode of the show. It still has what's would you consider scary imagery today in it,
Oh,
especially for
sure.
children. It's a really well
The
made
actual
episode.
creature is creepy.
Yeah,
Looks
it's
like
a good.
it looks like something from Crimson Peak.
Yeah, it's a good story, I think, for the show, and I like that episode a lot. Um, the ending, it's all around a pool, and there's like the pool monster is gonna get you. It's probably like that movie Night Swim, that Blumhouse Night Swim that came out more. But the ending is the no one can see this monster because they just smell it, and they have to use sulfuric acid, I believe it is.
Yeah, they're doing some a little bit of science, like a Breaking Bad
Science
episode. They're using some
and
science
to
on it.
to to then they could see it. That's when we see it. The way they tackle around the pool and like have someone in the pool to be bait reminded me so much of that episode to this movie. Like you said, like there's no way the director didn't see that. Go,
Yeah.
that was kind of a
Like,
cool
I'm not even saying that he consciously, but like,
no,
you
not
know,
that
that little
consciously.
seed that's lodged in his child brain, and then like 10 years, 15 years went by, and he's
Yeah,
like starting to think
this
about scenes to do, and then like,
this
it comes back.
this isn't M. Night Shyamalan with The Sixth Sense, who literally was like, "Yeah, I watched this episode of Art for the Dark where the twist was the ghost was dead. She was a ghost the whole time." I thought, how brilliant.
I'm doing that. I'm gonna
You
do
know,
that.
and that's apparently to question too. But no, this just I was like, Brian, it'd be fun. It's like 20 minutes of your day to knock
Oh
this
yeah, and
out.
it was well worth it. It was great.
Uh, but yeah, I can't help but any pool thing be like, nope, nope. How old are you? Are you
How old are you? You took
are
this
you
from Are You
between
Afraid
the
of the Dark.
ages of
I'm
like
calling you out.
Are you between the ages of like probably like 30 to
Either way, I do
37?
think though, I do think the scene is done really well. I
It's yeah.
like the plan. I think the plan is a perfect kid plan, like a perfect plan that dumb teens might try when you're desperate. Like I said, same thing with Jeff. They're in desperation mode. They're just like
And they're
trying to figure
firing.
out what to do. Like,
Well, my favorite part of their plan is it don't work and you just see a TV like one of those pieces of electronics TV just flying into the pool.
now we don't know that if they had left them plugged in and pushed them into the pool with the current, but the thing like rips it out of the wall and throws it so it's
Yeah,
not
the
plugged in
thing
anymore. But I love that she is just getting nailed with appliances left and right.
the
He
thing's
hits her
like, you
with
want
like
a
a
fucking
TV.
toaster?
He when he whips the iron at her, I was like, "Oh, you're about to get fucked up."
Yeah. The thing just wants one thing, and that's to kill its host that
And there's
set it.
also, and like I said, it'll keep coming back. I keep like I made note of it every time that it does something smart, like whether it's breaking in or like
Mm-hmm.
the trap. And like I said, this one it like saw the trap. It knew that that something wasn't right here, that it was being lured or whatever. It didn't stop. It kept
No,
coming in its own way, but it didn't like fall into the. I like that.
it gets
We
lost.
also little note here, she says she can see it. They're all there. She's like, it's right there. They're trying to get her to tell them what they see, but she doesn't want to. She's like, I don't want to tell you what I see, what it is. We don't know why she says that at the time, but it comes back around here near the end. It's an interesting little moment that I think again handled very well.
Yeah, they and then she's just like at the bottom of the pool. Someone starts. They think he's in there, and there's some once again rogue gunshots just fired in, and it actually clips. It
Yeah,
clips
they're shooting across the pool. They clip the friend. They clip Yara. And
yeah.
then he's still, even after shooting one of his friends, is taking pot shots into the water, which is wild.
That's what I mean.
Your perspective is
I like
distorted. Like, you
I like
can't
the
just be shooting into
I
the
like
water.
the YMCA pool. No, it's a
Paul gets real lucky on that.
Paul should have a couple arteries just leaking, but it's a real fun scene. They get saved out of the bottom of the pool. And this is when we're more, the movie's ready. They're basically ready. Fuck it. We've exhausted all
Well,
options.
it's desperation time again, and like I said, there's
And
nothing
Paul
more desperate than sleeping with Paul.
and Paul, who was like,
You
or
had your
sorry,
pool plan, now you have your
Jay.
Paul plan.
I'm sorry, Jay, who was like, Paul, we're good. She's like, all right. And when I say it is the most like, Paul might be thrilled. She's not. Neither of them are. But he goes, does that, and then we cut over to him passing a couple
He promptly
prostitutes.
goes to pass it along to a lady of the evening.
Yeah. And
Some, whew, those lady. I mean, I
they're
was
rough.
my favorite movie prostitutes are the girls from Fargo, and these girls made those girls look like beauty queens. Let's just say
Oh,
they did not pull any punches with the
these
style of
are
prostitute they went with. I always wonder how you cast a part like that. You
these
know what
are
I mean? Like, what do you put out to the casting
I
agent? What do
think
you say?
these are I think from what I know and they do, they take like pretty kind of people and then they be like, we'll make you ugly, but they're still
They're Hollywood sixes and they dumb them down, so they
yeah.
look like a hideous beast by comparison to a Hollywood
Mhm.
golden child.
But
Now
they
you were
they
saying that you think this is a pretty good idea, right? They
that
pass it
I don't
along.
know if it's but the good idea. That is the that is the clearest like option one. It's not a nice option by any means, but that is to me the easiest option of like how does this spread out there in the universe
Oh, okay.
other than going to a sex club,
You're
other
talking
than
about more
going
like
to an
how to
orgy.
explain what they're going to do in the sequel. How did it get out into the world?
Yeah, other than like it's like right we haven't talked about we actually I'm surprised I wanted to like other curse movies yet.
Okay.
So it's like I think the
We talked about a little bit how Killing a Sacred Deer was like kind of a secret
yeah,
curse
so
movie.
like Killing a Sacred Deer or like I'd say more of like viral curse movies, like
Sure.
virus. So like The Ring, right?
Mm-hmm.
That very much is another like at least the tape you watch it on your consent and this and then when they made the shitty like reboot they try to do like it was like online and everyone could see it and who knows
Yeah.
like for this it follow thing specifically how do I get how do I get someone to then have the most sex to spread around? Because I don't think also, and this is also a thing they don't explain, which is good, is let's say it's past. Let's say she's 5, 10 people removed, gets a boyfriend or girlfriend, has sex with them. Does she then respread it to them, or has that domino
Like,
been
yeah,
passed
exactly.
on?
Once it's off her, is she not a carrier anymore? Or
She's
if
still
she slept with someone else, would they still get it?
yeah, because
Like,
if she's still seeing him, she's still seeing him, just can't be like attacked by them. Yeah, so like that's a question. But
no, that's
I think
interesting. I hadn't thought about that, but that's a good point. I don't know if she's still like that would be interesting to go back and you'd be like, she's got a husband and kids, and then you find out the thing comes and it kills her husband, and you
mhm.
find out that she gave it to him,
And he's been seeing it this whole
and
time.
he's been seeing it, or maybe it like had to work its way back to him, but
maybe
it's
that's
now
they follow.
and it took years to it got spread around to a bunch of different people, and it took years to work its way back, and now it's finally back to her. I don't know. I guess I was only
They
thinking of the
follow.
prostitute. That's all very interesting stuff. I guess I was only thinking of the prostitute thing as a means to get it off. Like, if I was Paul, I'm in Paul's
Mhm.
position. To get the thing off my back,
Mm.
going to a prostitute, it seems like a very temporary solution because, like, the It Follows creature is going to start walking towards the prostitute at some point,
I'm like, hey,
and the prostitute's going to be like, "Hey, what's up? Would you like to bang?"
but
And then
like,
it's
what if it's a
over, and then it's going to be
really?
right back on Paul, which is what we see in the final shot. Like it's following them again. They're
It does.
walking. They're walking down the street holding hands. First of all, everything about her looks miserable. This forced guilt relationship that she's now in with Paul because he did this thing for her and now she's stuck with him. So you got that element, but also they're walking, they're holding hands, nice two shot, nothing behind them. Cuts around from behind shot. When it cuts back to front them from the front, there's a character right between them walking and following them again. And I feel like that's very clearly meant to give you the impression that the thing is already back on them.
You're probably right. Probably right. That's how horror movies. That's
Neil
how
deGrasse Tyson meme.
you're probably right. You're definitely the trading meme. No, you're absolutely right.
Lenny meme.
I like how it ends though, because like I said, like it does.
Oh, I think it's a perfect ending. That's why they should never do a sequel.
It does do that thing that it gives you that shot. That's what's coming, right? It's but also like I said, having Paul go do that is what going through your list, at least when
That's
you
the thing. It's
first
like that's
introduced the
what
movie.
the audience is thinking. They're like, you should just
Yes,
go bang a prostitute and then it'd be over. And it's like, but then once you flesh that out a little further, again, it kind of falls apart a little bit, you know.
I think we figured out in the beginning of this conversation. You go to like a big orgy, and you're just like, I'm gonna get in as many, and you fuck a person, then you go, you know what, we should go do that person together, and then just like
Just keep and spread and every as many holes, and then make sure the people you fuck each other,
that's what I'm
and
saying.
just like
Like,
really mix it up, really mix
yeah,
it up.
and then if it's still gonna, you know what, then I'm just accepting death.
Right? Honestly, at least I had to get that great orgy. That was fun.
Yeah, you go. Yes, I bet you they have a nice like shrimp cocktail out. Maybe some hot wings.
Eat some sushi off a naked lady or whatever.
Yeah.
What do they
No,
do?
I was thinking of the It's Always Sunny when they do the Eyes Wide Shut thing. Frank's like, we're gonna go cool, and they're just like
That's the real
nasty.
type of people you find in an orgy. It's like me in a bathrobe with a gold mask on. Like, what's up?
Not
No
bad.
beautiful, no beautiful people there. Beautiful people don't need to like get gross. They can get whatever they want.
You are beautiful, Brian.
It's true. Oh, okay. You're right.
Yeah, I'd like to see you there.
Still got it.
I'd like to see you at the meetings.
Get
No.
my. If you send me my gilded invitation, I'll be there. Show up in my gold mask.
Hey, I just watched that movie.
I have not seen Eyes Wide Shut like since it was in the theaters.
I would say I think we talked about it. I said I watched it like on HBO way too young and had bits and pieces and didn't really. And I watched
just want to see some boobies, and you knew the movie had some boobies in it.
I will say this has nothing to do with this conversation. No, running for one of the best looking people ever on screen is Nicole Kidman in that movie.
Incredible.
Just truly like you're like wow, she's doing something.
She had it. She has it still, but she had it then too.
But I was watching that about the time we watched Killing a Sacred Deer. I was on a big Nicole Kidman kick and Tom Cruise kick, like separately. But it's really good. It holds up, and there's a lot to it. But yeah, but no, this has me. I just want to end our conversation. Kind of circling back on these curse movies because, this past year, Talk to Me comes out, right? And I think it's the closest thing of
not on the streaming service where I can watch it, but it's out.
But we both saw it.
No, yeah, I saw it in the theater. It was great.
Yeah, I own it.
I have not bought it yet, but I will.
And that is like this it's so close to It Follows in its template.
It avoids a lot of the same pitfalls as far as like not over explaining things.
Yeah,
and keeping it in like a likable group of core characters that you could
much
follow.
More likable too. I think it think it does it better. In my opinion, and that might be recency bias because
Right, like I would need another watch to talk
I
to me,
need another
especially
watch.
because my second watch of It Follows, I think I raised it up a little bit in
So
my opinion. So I would definitely need another watch to talk to me
I
before I
gave
could
I
get
mean
that
I
kind of
gave It
involvement.
Follows.
Also, It Follows walked so Talk to Me could run. They
Yeah.
kind of, you can't even like,
No,
they're
I mean
both
that's
treading the same ground, and they're both. It's like I hate to kill my darlings. I hate to pit my babies against each other because they could both be great.
no. There's no competition. I mean that's where so you think you look back, you gotta go right to The Ring. That's the big modern start
And
of it all.
I think It Follows holds up better than The Ring. So
Oh, the Ring has its moments, but The Ring straight up is the problem. I'm gonna get my soapbox of a problem with a lot of great movies from the early 2000s, mid 90s, that were these like thriller horror is they were all then taken templates and styles and used in things like NCIS and Law and Order and all of
yeah,
these things, and it just became a more normal storytelling. So then when they go back to watch something like The Ring, I'm like, this is literally just an episode of NCIS with some supernatural shit going on.
yeah.
It's still a really good movie with really effective scares, but I think
Also,
those.
I think it's about 20 minutes longer than the J horror
Mhm.
predecessor, and it doesn't need to be. Like
No,
it feels long. Like,
just real quick on that, like, and I think those movies in that era was so defining of then the next thing came out that to the no fault of their own, there's some of that lingering when you go back to revisit them. I hope that thought made
Can I say
sense.
something controversial on this podcast?
No.
I prefer The Grudge to The Ring.
Ooh, buddy.
Come at me, internet.
Ooh. Well,
What's
no one's
up?
listening, but uh,
What's up?
come at him. The
Come at me, the
Grudge
three people. Come at me, guy complaining in the comment section that this isn't just a rip of the movie
on YouTube. You're like, oh
on
yeah.
YouTube for free.
Actually, if we talk a little longer, we might get the exact length of It Follows.
I do love when the people are like, "Dang it," and they take the time to leave a comment.
I thought
So
this
funny.
was
I'm a dumbass and I'm a fucking idiot.
um that was really funny. It was like, ooh, two
The only,
notifications.
I
But
don't
yeah,
have
bring up
anything else.
what do you want to bring up in the
I don't have
movie?
anything else in my notes except the dad reveal that we kind of danced around. It's
Mm,
just a really great, really quick shot. We talked about at the pool. She doesn't want to tell anybody who she's seeing. It's a guy, an older guy, just throwing, the guy who's throwing the electronics at her. We don't know anything about him. Later, we see just in passing, they kind of stop and show us a picture of the family, and you see the two girls and the mom, and the guy in the picture is the dad. And
hmm
it's just the same guy from the pool, and it's just the little things like we don't know if he's dead or just gone or whatever, but the point is that it was clearly traumatic for her to have to
Yeah.
see him, and that it would have been she was trying to protect her sister from even talking about it because that would have been fucked up for her sister too. And I thought that was it again was that thing where I was like, Bloomhouse could never. They would never have the deft touch to not be able to like that would have to be dialogue. Somebody would have
Bloom
to talk about I see it was dead. They like
uh,
have a scene where like she breaks down and tells her sister about
and
it
then
or whatever.
these fucking horror community idiots would be like, ah, it was amazing. Where are the Oscar? She cried.
She cried on screen. She didn't do the best acting, but she definitely did the most acting.
I They're all like Brian and I we could literally make the worst like thing ever of just like black on her like white face, black eyes with like blood on her face, like blah, we're Dracula's, and people are like bravo.
They love it.
I love that.
They
Like,
are not. They are not. The horror fans are not a discerning crowd. They love their slop. The
good, and you know
piggies.
what?
Piggies
Good
love their slop.
and good for them. I'm
Honestly,
being
they're
just.
living. They're probably happier than me.
They are. They
I'm
are.
all cynical and dead inside.
I see people so excited on my timeline, friends today for like Winnie the Pooh, Hunt and Bloody 2, and I'm like, don't we have?
I hate it so
But
much.
you're not excited the way like I watched Madam Web and laughed my ass off and drank 7 beers, and like and it was like you're excited to be like bad but pretty good kills.
Yeah, you're legitimately like, actually, it started as a joke, but now it's legitimately good. Like, no, it's
And
not. Shut up. Fuck you.
But yeah, but good for them. I wish I could live that naively.
You know what? That's why we will never be the most popular horror podcast, but we will always be the most honest horror podcast. That's the Flyover guarantee.
That's what you sign up for, just honesty. Honestly,
from the heart.
We never lost that. No, I like this movie a lot. Like I said, I found more criticism.
I actually like it a lot more, and who knows, if I see a good deal on a Blu-ray someday or a special edition, I may even pick it up.
I got mine at like a secondhand store, I remember.
Yeah,
I gave it like 3.5 out of 5, like solid. Would watch, another watch. Maybe makes its way into the, Halloween horror rotation this year. But
it goes up there with Hereditary, where movies that I think I'm just susceptible. I get extra critical when a movie's getting a lot of hype, and sometimes that's to my detriment. I find that if I go back with a little bit more of an open mind and like don't worry so much about how good everybody said it was and just take it in, I did the same thing with Hereditary. I like watched it the second time, and I was like, first time I was like, whatever, I'm fine, this is okay or whatever. Second time around, I was like, God damn, what the hell was wrong with me? Like, what was my problem? Like this is incredible. So
I'm kind of the same way.
So that being said, sometimes give a movie a second chance.
You should. Well, until next time, we will.
That's as good. We can go out.
You could follow us. Well, follow us out. And stay frightful, everyone.
Welcome to Flyover State of Fear.